specifications?
Well, we decided to add lockout hubs to our little Jeep. We bought a set from Yukon Gear and Axle and set up for a 27 spline Dana 30, and we started putting it in. Now this is what it looks like after the wheels on, and if you have turbine wheels it'll work with stock, but without turbines you can't use stock wheels, I don't think. Maybe some of the older ones, but I'm pretty sure you can't. But anyway, we'll get on to what we're doing here. First of all, let me say there are tons of videos showing how to take apart your Dana 30. Wheel hubs, all that stuff. And changing U-joints in your axles, whatever. So we didn't show all that. Alright. Now we ordered the spin-free kit for the 27 spline, like I said, from Yukon Wheel and Axle. The kit comes with 4340 outer stubs, and the size was different than my 93, so I had to order inner shafts too. So we bought USA Gear 4340 inner shafts. That's a little bit overkill for what we're going to do, but hey, we got chrome molly. The kit came with Spicer axle U-joints, so we installed the U-joints, and my son Isaac is helping me. He's 16, so good to learn for working on this. He does a lot of my heavy work for me. I'm getting old, so that's how that works. He installed the axles after we removed the others, and then next we installed the spindle. The spindle already has the inner needle bearings installed. We greased it a little more, installed the little rubber seal that goes in it with the thrust washer, and installed the washer onto the seal onto the axle. Installed the spindle. Isaac, we slathered it down with nickel anti-seize before we put it on, and Isaac torqued it to 75 foot-pounds per the instructions from Yukon. We installed the bearing races in the hubs that came with the kit. All the bearings and seals are Timken, USA made, good stuff. We installed the races, packed the bearings. After we installed the rotor, you have to press the studs. It comes with new studs. You have to press them through the rotor into the hub. That secures the rotor to the hub like an old CJ or, an old four-wheel drive. We packed the bearings and installed the inner and the seal, and then we slid it on the spindle. We installed the outer bearing. Of course, it was all packed. We filled the cavity with grease when we did all that. And then it's got spindle nuts that go on. The inner nut torques to 50 foot-pounds as you're spinning it to seat the bearings. This is all according to Yukon's directions, but it's best practices when you're installing wheel bearings like this on a small hub. Then you back it off 90 degrees or a quarter turn, and then we torque it back to 15 foot-pounds. And then there's a little lock washer that slides on that locates a pin on the inner nut. And if it doesn't locate it, you can flip it and try it that way. But if that doesn't work, you always bump it just a little tighter. You don't kill it, you just bump it until the lock washer fits on. And then you spin the outer nut on, and it torques to 150 foot-pound. And Isaac learned that 150 foot-pounds is a lot. After you get the spindle nuts on there, you just torque this. There's a little washer and a circlip or a C-clip, whatever you want to call it. You have to pull the axle from the inside out. You have to pull it out, force it out. You slide the washer on, and then the little C-clip will snap right on. And then after you get that on, we put a little grease in the hub. It already had grease. We put a little more. And then we grease the O-ring. And once we grease that O-ring on the back side of the new locking hub, we slid it all on there, and it's done. Now for some final thoughts on the kit. It's a really good kit. It's got pretty good instructions if you've got some basic mechanical knowledge and some old school knowledge of doing regular hand-packed wheel bearings, things like that. There's not a whole lot online about it. That's one of the reasons we decided to make this little video. I know it's all just pictures, but the kits, when you put all this on there, it's like adding a small wheel spacer to each side of your Jeep. Best I can measure, it was about 0.88, somewhere thereabouts. It does increase the stance of your Jeep a little bit. We are doing a disc brake conversion on the rear, and you have to add a longer stud for that. That'll actually bump you out 3/16 on each side or whatever. So we're actually going to just get a longer stud than we need and put a 3/4 of 0.750 spacer in there. And that should, this is not a wheel adapter with its own lugs. This is a longer lug with that in there. They do it on drag cars and race cars every day. So I believe my little Jeep will be just fine. It is an expensive kit. No way around it. And the big rock collar guys aren't going to like it, because the lockout hub is a weak point of the driveline now. But we were going to be replacing those U-joints, bearings, rotors, all that anyway. And so now we have serviceable bearings, and I don't know. It should get a little bit better fuel mileage. I know it'll get a lot less wear and tear without all that reciprocating mass in the front end turning and the front driveline turning and all that. So we'll run it for a while. We've got a bunch of other work going on. Expect more videos. I know it's been a while, but that's my thoughts on it. You guys let me know what you think. Appreciate it.